Good morning, everybody, and welcome out to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yee.
I'm Wendy Yee.
And I'm Roy Kennedy.
Yeah! We're back from Gencon, including those of us who might have been trapped in Indy for a few extra days.
I may not have gotten in until like midnight last night.
It was a pretty wild end of the Gencon week. A hurricane ripping through the state, driving in a van, trying to get around aforementioned hurricane.
Through all the mountains, over the river and through the snow. To the Dice Tower studio we go.
Yeah, and then those of us who weren't in the van, unfortunately, were trapped with delayed, i.e. canceled flights.
Yes, I slept the day after Gen Con for like 4 hours. It was great. Like a nap on top of.
Oh.
Like normal sleep plus a 4-hour nap.
What is sleep?
And then I lost it all last night.
Baby, don't hurt me. Hey, everyone. This episode of Board Game Breakfast, which we're excited to kick off again, is sponsored by GripMat. So, if you are interested in custom playmats for games that you might have and you want something that's high quality, double-sided, has it optional for smooth or for the grippy surface so that the pieces you play on there don't slide around, you can go to at the GripMat store on Etsy and you can see all sorts of stuff. So this is the Brass Birmingham one.
Yes, that was
Don't
Wendy's
let your pieces
pick, right?
slide.
Wendy's like, give me the brass.
I want all the brass.
Yeah. You've
All of
now
it.
almost played this.
I have definitely not played brass.
Almost, though. Almost.
Only in skits.
You have sat at a table where brass existed.
I have played brass in satire.
Yes, yeah. We'll get around to the real thing soon. But yeah, if you haven't
I
watched the
hope
Dice
so.
Tower Awards, that was posted up just recently, and Brass makes a cameo. We'll just
There
put it
you
that
go.
way.
There we go. Now we have some Kickstarter backers that I want to read off for you all. Thank you so much for your support. Kickstarter is one of the main ways that we stay afloat here at the Dice Tower. Brent and Rebecca Coford,
You're awesome.
Inigo Montoya.
You
Did
killed my
you
father.
Kill my
Prepare
father.
to
Yes.
die.
I'm not left-handed.
Brett Bolch and all the gamers at BolchCon.
BolchCon!
Want to know what BolchCon is, man? Joel Rodriguez watching from Turkey. Hey.
Yeah.
Marin Christopher and Nellie from Nuremberg in Germany.
Okay, well, classic.
Janice Gist, which is a great name. Greg and Kathy Borrell.
Nice.
Chuck, Jessica, Anika, and Taryn Hansen.
Nice, the Hanson clan.
JB from
Bob.
Katy, Texas, and Paul Miles. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate
You
it.
guys are all awesome.
All right, well, we are various levels of rested and relaxed, I guess. But we're excited to kick off episode 505 of Breakfast. Let's jump to some eye catchers.
Let's do it. All right, so Eye Catchers is a segment where we basically take a look at things we saw on the internet, board game related or geeky related normally, but there's a lot of stuff coming out of Gen Con. So my eye catcher this time is the expansion for Dune Imperium. This is Dune Imperium Bloodlines, and I know at Gen Con they announced this at their little after party thing. But
This is not for Uprising. This is
this
just
is
for
for
basic.
both.
This is for either, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so they
interesting.
basically made this expansion be able to work with either version of the game. So I know if you click on the picture there, I think it adds a new board with new ways to spend your spice. Like all of these expansions are like, here's a new way to spend your spice, which, you know, it must flow. So there you go. But then, of course, lots of new leaders, which is super cool. We got Duncan, Idaho up in there. I know this is also going to have a bunch of stuff with the Spacing Guild. I think it has some like, maybe it's just with a specific character, but there's some like character-specific intrigue cards. Like that character there has his own intrigue cards and things like that. But yeah, just
Interesting.
more stuff being added to Dune Imperium. I love the Uprising stuff. I think I'm specifically now just only playing Uprising, just because I really like what the sandworms and stuff add to it. So,
Yeah.
But both versions of the game are amazing. It's like book one or movie one and then movie two.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I really enjoy all the epicness of the second movie. So
Well, he who controls the spice controls the board game, my friends.
there
Can you
go.
move our picture-in-picture there in the bottom right? Because
You got to see something underneath.
There's these Sardaukar minis down there.
Sardaukar.
Those look pretty cool.
Yeah, those do look really cool.
Oh,
I
dang.
want some Sardaukar. Now I'm
Alright.
just thinking
That sounds
about.
that sounds like food.
I really want the card that allows me to, when I go to the Sardaukar space, put them directly into combat. Never mind. Anyway,
I was like, I feel like Sardaukar would be something over like rice. You know what I mean? Some basmati rice. I want some Sardaukar.
Got to go with the basmati, yeah. Jasmine, too tangy. Too tangy for Sardaukar.
I don't know that I would have ever
Jasmine is not tangy. That's
say
not how I
jasmine
describe
rice
it.
is tangy.
They're
I don't know, I
both
just-
aromatic rices.
Aromatic, there we go. Fine. Fine. because I went with the first adjective.
I gotta say, I
All
figured
right.
you'd have enough experience with rice to like know.
Are you next, Chris? What's your
Go
game?
ahead.
Now, Wendy, you're up.
Oh, I'm up. Okay. So I got to go to the Board and Dice booth at Gen Con, and I got to get a little sneak peek of Minos. This is their next game that's coming out at Gen Con. And I'm going to read some BGG stuff for you. So in the ancient realm of Crete, amidst the sun-drenched shores and labyrinth corridors of Knossos, the fate of the Minos civilization is yet to be determined. Okay, there's some sort of like theme behind this, and it has something to do with Minos and Minotaurs and something. It's a Euro game. It's like a building up civilization stuff, your different clans, whatever. But what's really interesting about this is a dice programming game. So you roll a bunch of, like, everyone rolls some dice at the beginning, and you're doing a dice draft, but you're programming those dice. So if you look at the upper right-hand corner of that board Chris is showing, those are the dice spots. And so as you are setting out your dice on the worker placement spaces, if people play lower dice than you, they're bumping you to the right, and you're actually getting lesser and lesser versions of that action.
Oh, dang.
So you want to have lower numbers. But then when you actually, one at a time, you go through playing one die at a time, but you have to go from your highest die to your lowest die. So it's pre-programmed the order you're going to do your actions in based on what you put out. But then there's that interesting interaction of people are moving you over, and so you might have less actions than you thought. So it's an interesting thing. There's some area control, there's tracks, there's some really cool engine building, and I think that's what's fascinating to me. As at first I was like, I don't know, this game sounds a little tactical, and it might be too tactical for me, but then the unique engine building and the asymmetrical like little player powers that you can get and build up are just fascinating. So I think that there's some really cool stuff going on here. I'm very curious how much I'm going to like this.
It's funny. Mike Heller, in response to you picking a board and dice game, goes, "I'm shocked." Well, not that shocked. Oh, I love Futurama memes. No, this looked really cool. We didn't get to do like a play demo, but we got to see it. And it sounds like a Stan Kordansky game. It sounds like a board and dice game. Those are both positives for us.
Right.
Theme.
Right.
The theme was D-Stroke in the chat says something similar is kind of done in that Moistero game.
Oh, cool.
Which Tom reviewed. We never got around to trying, actually.
Interesting, because my first thought was Coimbra when I was thinking of like the dice thing, but it is
gotcha.
different. It is different.
You even have the little feet that you put the dice
I
into.
know.
Bloop.
I
So that's
know.
fun. All right, so my eye catcher is something that's I'm particularly excited for. Well, one, because it's a reprint of a Knizia game, i.e. it's a dime a dozen, but two, because this is going to be the first published board game from Ghost Galaxies. This is a reprint of Lord of the Rings: The Confrontation.
Yes.
So this is Knizia's basically looked at Stratego and said, I can do better. And so this is one I've not tried. This is one that has been highly regarded, though, by people as a really excellent kind of hidden information, two-player strategic duel type of a game.
Have you played this, Roy? Because you're all about the rings and the lords.
I haven't played it, but I did a lot of I watched a ton of videos on it before I did my Lord of the Rings. What's the best Lord of the Rings
So
game?
you feel like you've played it?
So I feel like I've played it. I watched just a bunch of content on it. It's pretty cool. It's very strategic go-y, but it also has a thing of if 3 Nazgul get to the Shire, then they win the game. Or, if Frodo gets all the way to Mount Doom, then their side wins the game. And there's a lot of... It's like Stratego where you move guys out, their numbers matter, but then you also have a little bit of card play as well to kind of mix that up. So, I really like the art on this too. It's very art refreshed. I like the cover here. They had a big stand of this, and I'm like, Ghost Galaxies is doing a board game, finally.
I think, Ghost Galaxies is a cool company. So far, they've done Mindbug and Keyforge, which I enjoy Keyforge, right? But I've been waiting for something from them that I can really sink my teeth into, and I think this is going to be it. Just for reference here, Rings the Confrontation. I'm going to pull up the old cover so you can see that this is a little bit of what the kids call a glow up. I do actually like this old cover as well, right? I think that's a good one. But just modernizing a little bit. I like this cool color scheme. I think that they're going to do some really good stuff with this.
I just want Christian Peterson back making epic thematic games. Christian, do it!
Yep.
All right.
All right. Well, there you go. That's our eye catchers for this week.
Hey, Board Gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here. Back in the breakfast, this time taking a look at a brand new game from Dr. Steve Finn, The Feds. Let's take a look. The Feds is all about arresting as many criminals and scoring as many points as possible. If you look at the back of the player guide, it tells you that you can score more points if you collect the same colored meeples, the same type of criminals, all the way up to 20 points per color. And how do we do that? The game is simple. We've got a deck of, each player has a deck of 7 cards ranging from power 1 to power 4, and some of them have these tags that give you unique powers depending on the city that you're in. So as you can see, there are 4 districts in the city, and we're going to take one of these cards and we're going to place it face down all at the same time in one of the 4 districts. And we do it at the same time, and then in turn order, we're going to place those cards as a mole face down in that particular district that we've chosen. Now that mole is hidden power. No one else knows what power I have at that particular warehouse. And at the end of the game, we're going to reveal all of the cards that haven't been shown, and we'll arrest those criminals depending on the person who has the most power will be able to go first. But until someone plays another card in that district, that mole stays hidden. If they do play it in that district, then the mole becomes a rookie agent. And now the agent is shown, and if there's a special action, a little tag there, it might affect the gameplay. There's some lanyap in the game, and that's to me what makes this game special, and that's these city cards. Ranging from New York to Chicago to Los Angeles, and my favorite, New Orleans, we've got different city cards, and they all change the game in unique ways. Maybe the setup, maybe the way the card actions happen, but in any case, it makes it very replayable. All right, so that's the Feds from Dr. Steve Finn. Hey, I like the lanyap in this one. Those city cards really do change up the way you play the game every time. And of course, I like the New Orleans card. Until next time, laissez le bon temps rouler.
Hey, I'm Jordan. Let's talk about a quick game, almost a party game, if you will. This is Gussy Gorillas. Gussy Gorillas is from Bitewing. They kickstarted it over a year ago, I think, at this point. And it is a real-time trading negotiation game. I don't think it feels similar, but almost like Pit, where you're running around trading cards, that kind of thing. In Gussy Gorillas, it is a lot more subdued than Pit. Pit is kind of off the wall crazy. Gussy Gorillas is not quite that. You have a hand of, you're just holding a card. You're facing it out. You can't see what card you're holding. Everybody else at the table can see what your card is, and you can see what other people's cards are, but they can't see their own card. And so you're trying to trade each other, trying to create these sets of cards and trying to score points. The value on the card is how many points it is, but if you get pairs of cards, they cancel each other out. So if I get a 10, I don't necessarily want a second 10 because they're going to cancel each other out. But there's also these special bonus cards that allow you to maybe flip the cards or reverse the cards. The negative 12 isn't going to be that bad if you can make it a positive 12. And if you have a 7 that can flip over to become a 2, then your 2 7s aren't going to cancel out. You now have a 2 and a 7, and they're both going to score. So you're doing this. It sounds like a lot. I promise it's not. I've played this with middle schoolers, and they can figure it out. But what you're doing is you are just showing your card to other people, and you're saying, I kind of want your card. And they're like, okay, I'll take your card. And you trade it. Maybe you can add a second card to it if nobody seems to want your card, or maybe everybody wants your card, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to keep that. And you put it down, and then you see what kind of card it was. It's a cool game. I think this one is great for kind of party settings. It plays up to 10 players. And I think it just gets better with more players because it gets a little more chaotic and the trades just kind of keep flowing. So Gussy Gorillas, if you're into trading, like party games that aren't silly or like make you do weird things or trivia or things like that, I think Gussy Gorillas is a great kind of option for you.
Alrighty, it is top 10 time. This is where we share our top 9. And then one of you in the chat is going to be the lucky winner. Wow, I'm tired. The lucky winner.
I think you're just showing how fragile our system really is. It's kind of like the mail fraud that we commit all the time. Like, as soon as it gets pointed out, that like this isn't really a top 10, guys. You're like, you're right.
It's kind of a top 10.
Anyways. We're phonies.
You do mail
share
fraud? I'm so
your
confused.
thoughts in the chat, and then I get to pick one of you all to be the number 1 answer.
You
Best answer. All right, so we're going to talk about top 10 cool things from Gencon because there's so many. And this is kind of a post-Gencon thing. So I did get stranded for a couple days. with a couple people. It was Jason and Emery, and Joey, I think, is still up there. But for me, this was Julie Ahern from Van Ryder Games. She so kindly invited us out to her house. She lives just like 10 minutes away from the conference center. So we got to play Rock Hard and Gap and some other games. So we just kind of hung out all day yesterday, waiting to go to the airport after we got kicked out of our hotel room. So this was really nice and very much appreciated.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
I wrote exclusive as a joke because, you know, it's so fun to have your flights canceled for over 2 days.
Exclusivity.
All right.
There
Yeah.
you go.
That's super nice of her. Julie, thanks for taking care of Wendy.
Julie's a fabulous person.
You're the best.
She really is. She's
She
a
really is.
fabulous person.
Around.
You're never gonna let me down. You're the best around. Number 9 is, this is my pick. This is the Pegasus booth was showing off Bomb Busters, which I think is a cool deduction game about clipping wires and stuff. Clip the same number of wires at the same time as other people.
Yeah.
From Hisashi Hayashi, who typically does like trading games and stuff. But I thought that they actually put this picture, or like the thing I took a picture of here, was actually a thing that they attached to their demo tables, and it had like a ticking time.
Yeah, it looked
time down
legit.
thing.
It looked legit.
It's so funny because there were so many people around this booth so many times when I walked by it. There was one time I walked by it and there was no one around it, and I saw this. I'm like, oh, dang. There's like a bomb attached to that thing. Because like there were people standing in front of it before, and I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. So like I saw this too. I'm like, oh, yeah, I get that.
They were giving away different stickers each day for Bomb Busters, and so we got a few different ones as we
Oh, that's
walked by, and they're like, hey, you thought our game was cute. Here's another sticker. And I was like, yes!
Yay
So-
for stickers.
So yeah, you want to make concerns for Gen Con security and give me stickers? You get a thumbs up, Pegasus.
Yay.
All right, Roy, number 8.
All right, for me, my number 8 was we had a meetup for backers at Family Time Games, and we did this last year as well, but it's just so much fun to get together with a bunch of backers, not only backers, but also like other parts of the Dice Tower. Like I got to play games with Eric and play games with Sam and play games with tons of amazing backers. And it's just really fun getting to play games in that environment. And it's like stepping away from the con and just having a moment to be like, cool, we're here just to play games. We're here just to chill out. Because, I mean, there's a lot of gaming that goes on in different lobbies and things like that. But this was like a party that was super chill and super fun. And it was just so much fun to hang out with all the different backers and like talk different games and just play different stuff. I taught Eric Go Cuckoo, which is this little stacking game with all these little like pickup stick looking things where you have to set like eggs on a nest. And I'd played it a ton of times with my podcast friends, and then bang the dice game with Sam. Oh, I also finally played the gang with the rest of the group there. That was really fun too.
Oh yeah.
This was honestly probably one of my favorite things at Gen Con too. But you stole it, Roy. No, I'm just kidding. No.
I had a lot of fun too, just talking to the owner of Family Time Games. He's a super cool dude, and it's
I
been
agree.
cool going there back to back after years. He's helped cart us over to the store and like make sure everything's set up, and we got to just hang out and play games. And it was
It's
just
so
much fun.
great. You know, and at Gen Con, we don't do a ton of playing of games because it's much more of a selling con. And so it was nice to just have an evening to be like, hey, let's sit down and just like hang out with people
Get away
and
from the
game.
chaos, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it so much.
Josh Franklin was there, and he gave us about 40 pounds of Albanese gummies.
Oh my
Bears,
goodness.
worms, sours, all sorts of stuff.
You know what? All we have left are just the giant bags of bears. We
I-
went through a lot of those gummies.
I went up to Tom and I was like, so gummies, what's the situation with said gummies? He's like, oh yeah, they were brought to us. It's like, I will now consume.
Oh man.
So
yeah.
many gummies.
I will not
It's delicious.
speak real sentences either.
We're all on a sugar high.
All right, Wendy, number 7.
Okay, number 7, the nerd shirt booths. Oh
I
my
saw
goodness,
this.
I was so excited. So these are the ones I got for Chris and me. I also got a Chipotle shirt for my daughter. But yeah, they just were like all these really cute Pokemon weird pun, like not weird puns, but like puns of like real things. And I just loved it. So those are my favorite. I loved going to the nerd shirt booths. I got some cool earrings. Like I just had fun going and getting the nerd things. That made me happy.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff there outside of directly just board games.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that like it's one of those things I say every year where I'm like, oh, I underutilize time at Artist Alley or at the people who like handcraft jewelry and make stuff like that. So I'm glad that you saw some of
There's
it.
so many really cool
That's
things.
some of my
yeah.
favorite stuff too. Is like going through and like checking out all the art and checking out all of this stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
I love the nerd
Yeah.
things.
And I let myself buy some this year, which made me happy.
Yay.
Yay.
Number 6, the Dice Tower Awards. I thought, like as biased as I possibly can be, I thought that it went so well this year. And on top of just the awards ceremony itself being really well done, like all the people who came up and gave acceptance speeches, the Hall of Fame inductees, like it was so, like it was just so cool to see Seiji Kanai. He submitted a video in because he was like, oh, I wish I could be there. And it was just like amazing to see Seiji Kanai, designer of Love Letter, give this acceptance speech in English, and I don't know if he speaks English or if he like learned
Worked on it,
worked on it just for that. But I mean, it was so cool. And then Rodney, the designer of Lords of Waterdeep, to have him up there and to talk about what that game meant to him. I thought the whole award thing was so cool. It was very fun to run. And then my favorite part is seeing the award trophies around all the different booths for the rest of the con afterwards.
Oh,
It
for
was
sure.
really cool because I talked to a couple publishers and they said that their sales skyrocketed after that. And I think
Really?
that's so cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Because those games deserve it, you know what I mean?
It's also like there was just a bunch of people, like 1,000 people in a room, like watching this, and people were talking about how great that game was, and people were like, "I haven't played that yet. I need to go check it out."
Yeah.
It's super cool.
And I think Tom does a really great job pointing out like every single game that was nominated for anything there
Was
is
amazing.
amazing.
Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love like putting this. This is like the biggest thing basically we do each year at this point. I think is putting together the Dice Tower Awards and like having it go off, and it's just the energy in the room was just insane.
It was perfect,
Like
yeah.
so many people just super excited, waiting on the edge of their seats to see each of the awards. It's just so cool, and the production. I mean, kudos to like Chris and Joey and everybody involved. And like Eric's beginning song was ridiculous, and like
Well,
Tom.
Grant and the different
I think
presenters.
there was good
everything.
entertainment value.
It was just
yeah.
so good. So it's like not only are we giving these awards to awesome board games, we're trying to like showcase the fun that the hobby has.
Yeah.
So Dice Tower Awards are awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was, even for me, being like working on it, I was like, this is still a highlight. It's so amazing. All right, number 5, Roy.
All right, my number 5 is a silly one, but I was standing in the middle of our booth, and I looked, and I'm like, there's people on top of that booth over there. So I went over to the Ops Sky Lounge that they had there. They had their Gnome Hollow all set up and all the different stuff, and I was talking with the designer of Gnome Hollow, and he's like, oh, you can go up there if you want. And I was like, okay, let me go get my phone first, because my phone's being used as a Wi-Fi hotspot for our booth, because I really want to take a picture and videos of it for the vlog. So I went up there, and like while we were up in the Sky Lounge, I'm like filming and being like, oh, look, it's the Gnome King himself, and everything. Like they sold out of Gnome Hollow like while we were up there. So it was just cool to see him
that's
excited
fun.
about that. And just the OP booth in general was really cool, how they had all of that, and like they were taking all their meetings up there and stuff like that, and then just like selling Gnome Hollow everywhere, and around the sides they had other exciting things like, oh, there's a risk Dune coming and stuff. Like their booth in general was really cool. So the OP Sky Lounge, being able to see Gen Con from a bird's eye view, I guess, I don't know, is really cool.
I have to say the booths in general at Gen Con this year were even better than previous years.
I
They're
agree.
Just so much more elaborate. There were like light up booths all over the place. It just was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing what people build.
All right, Wendy, number 4.
Oh, super chat from Mike Heller. Here you go, since Tom will never pay you back.
1263. Oh, see, that's for Tom because,
That's from the music video.
yeah, I'm not paying him back.
Okay, my next one is just getting to meet great designers. It was so much fun. You know what I mean? Like, just seeing these people that you love their games. And I know people come up to us and they're like, I don't know you, but I watch you. You know what I mean? I feel that way towards these designers where I'm like, I don't actually know you, but I love your games. So it's fun to have something to geek out over and kind of, I don't know, just be super fan of. It's great.
Yeah, this is one where I was like, dang it, Wendy, you picked one of my picks. I would have loved to have put this on here.
Ooh,
but yeah,
also, I got to see Phil Walker Harding because I got stranded.
Oh, there you
So
go.
we
That's
had
true.
No, so the night that we packed up everything, right? What was that? Sunday night. We had terrible service at a restaurant We got super delayed for like multiple reasons. The Uber that we wanted to go like not very far in was going to be like astronomically priced. We're like, we're going to wait and stand on this corner for 5 minutes to see if like the Uber price will go down.
Oh, yeah.
And right at that moment, that's when like Stella and Phil Walker Harding walked by. And,
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, I got my picture.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Because I just kept missing him all con.
But yeah, there's so many, like basically everybody in the industry is at Gen Con, and it's a great place to like meet a bunch of the designers of your favorite games. Like Cole Worley came up to the booth and was talking to me for like 15 minutes about like Arcs and Last Light and all the different stuff. It was just so cool to like have an opportunity. I've seen him in passing at cons, but I'd never had a chance to like have in-depth conversations with him and talk to Manny Vega about like a bunch of different stuff and just different things about game design and things like that was so cool. And just so many different game designers that are all over Gen Con in so many different ways, running and bumping into Eric Lang and saying, oh, hey, how's it going? How's the con and stuff? It's just so fun to be able to meet up and see so many different people, you know, as we do these. So yeah, if you want to meet some awesome game designers, Gen Con's definitely a place to do it. They're going to be extremely busy, but hey, you can at least say hi.
Yeah, you can at least say hi. So we have a couple more super chats. Thank you, Genway Yu. Great job on the award show. Definitely highlight. Awesome. Thanks for that.
Glad you came, man.
Yep. And then Andrew. Wow, that was weird. Andrew Groner. He said, you guys have sucked me back into the hobby. I forgot I loved so much. Thank you. My wife thanked you for about 2 weeks, and now she just wishes she'd never heard of board games. So thanks.
Oops. But no, thank you guys so much. Oh my gosh, more. DJ, hope you get chances to enjoy the meat sticks. Oh my gosh, yeah. Yes.
There were meat sticks?
There were meat
I
sticks?
wasn't told about meat sticks.
I thought you were there in the back room.
No.
They were like some of the only protein I ate sometimes. I was like, oh, oops. Gotta go eat something. Go.
Protein. I'm allowed to eat protein.
Yeah, DJ, those were fantastic.
Delicious meat sticks.
Well, now I feel bad that I didn't put DJ's meat sticks as my number 3 pick.
We'll wrap that into the gummies.
But the Comic Hunters booth.
Yeah.
The Comic Hunters booth was so good.
Well, that booth was hopping.
Right, Robert Coelho, the designer, was there.
Another designer I met. So
That's true. Yeah, another designer I met. Spin Master went all in on Comic Hunters. The whole staircase, they had an entire staircase decorated with the Comic Hunters logo.
Oh, it was so cool, yeah.
I think they did a good job of making Robert feel like a rock star there, which was fantastic. That first day, as soon as they opened up the doors, we were walking around, I was like, ooh, what's this big line over here? And people were like, this is Comic Hunters. This is Spin Master line. And I was like, this is not close to the Spin Master booth.
It was wrapped around tons of other booths, yeah.
It was wild, and I'm just so happy that it's out there in the wild, and I'm glad that people were so excited about it. And I did feel a little bit bad at one point. One of the poor guys from Spin Master was out in the hall, and I had like vlog footage of him just like looking terrified, where he's like, whoo, is this the line? Is this another Comic Hunters line? But it was great for them. So anyway, yeah, that's it. My number 3 Comic Hunters.
It was great.
apparently the meat sticks came with the energy drinks, the monsters as well. So it's like
Oh my gosh, yeah.
he did like the keto special. That's like all I need for life to sustain life. No, I'm just kidding.
Somehow
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
awesome.
think so.
All right, my next one here is just hanging out with people. So many people coming up to us and saying hi, getting us to sign stuff, and just talking with all of the people that watch our show. Like, it means so much to us. Like, we're literally in a garage looking at a camera. I know we have this fancy set here and all that stuff, but, like, you don't realize how many people, like, the Dice Tower impacts and how many people, like, watch our show until you go to a convention like this. And, like, we're stopped nonstop. But I love that. Like, I love being able to talk with so many different people. And so many people are like, oh, man, I feel like I know you. And, like, I know it's weird because you don't know me. I'm like, yeah, but, like, I get to know you at these things. I get to, like, see a little bit, like, what are you excited about with the con? Like, what's going on? It's awesome to be able to talk to so many people that watch a show. So, like, never hesitate, like, if you see any of us at an event or at Walmart to come and say hi to us or whatever. It's so fun. Just to bump into people all over the place, just to talk about board games. We have like a shared hobby of a thing that we all love. You know, it's just fun to be able to hang out with so many different people doing that.
It is a really cool experience for sure. And don't be afraid to come up and say hi. There were a couple of people that were like, oh, I really want to talk to Tom, but I am afraid to go ask for a picture. And I'm like, no, go ask for a picture.
Yeah.
We're all really kind about that.
I mean, we literally that's one of the main reasons we have that booth is just to have a place to interact with people in the industry, you know, and have a place for people to come. I mean, yeah, we sell our promos and we're doing like gaming and stuff like that, but we have a photo booth literally so that way like people can come up and like hang out with us and like make memories together, I guess.
Yeah, Joey set that up, and that was awesome. That was a great addition.
That was very cool.
All right, Wendy, what are you picking from the...
on to number 1. The Dice Tower Cube hanging above the booth. Yes. So we were very blessed to be able to get a larger booth kind of last minute. So it was 3 times the size of our normal booth, which meant we got to have a cool hanging sign, which was the Dice Tower Cube. But also that meant that we got to have a lot more space to have people around and come in and actually like hang out with us at our booth instead of trying to shove around everybody else in the hallways that are pushing them. You know what I mean? So it was fun to have that open space to just sit and talk with people and like really enjoy that time. We had the cool photo booth. We had a little extra more storage space so we could actually put games that we've collected and stuff. And so, yeah, the Dice Tower Cube was definitely like, yay, we made it.
All of us were so excited about, like, we're all taking pictures of our sign and videoing it. Like, I'm sure the sign made a very strong appearance in all the vlogs of us being like, all right, it's going up. All right, it's built. All right, it's going. It's on the ceiling and we're right here. Like every single time I was doing like our little sections for like the tables of the games we're playing and things like that. I was like, and we're at the Dice Tower booth, like showing the cube. I don't know. It's just so exciting to be like, yeah, we're the big boys now. We got a sign hanging from the ceiling.
Like I could find our booth. I was like, where's our booth? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's right there.
There's the sign.
Right there, right from the Op Sky Lounge which I thought was super cool. That like our big old Dice Tower Cube.
Yeah.
Very prominently in view.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling.
That's so exciting.
That's a nice, happy little accident.
And Z made all the graphics and stuff for it, but like, I don't know, it was just exciting. He put like my dice character on one side and Wendy's dice character on the other side. I'm like, yeah, we get to be on the cube. What now?
It does, yeah.
It doesn't matter, but it's just still kind of cool.
That's fun.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about Gen Con at the end of the episode here, but if I were to have to pick a number 1, like an extra thing, it would be Bruce Schwerin, MVP, who worked so many hours and stuff with the booth.
Bruce is
yes,
awesome.
Bruce, thank you so much.
He brought us things. He took things around. He helped everybody out. Drove people places.
Yeah,
yeah, Bruce is awesome.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who help out at the booth, and so we'll talk more. But you're the MVP.
Also, Mike Austin, get well soon.
Yeah,
no, he's the best.
All right.
See you guys.
Happy breakfast, everyone. Today I'm going to do something a little different and talk to you about a kids game because, well, my son is now 2 years old and the Harbour games start from 2. So we actually got this. This is my first Orchard from Harbour, and well, these are my experiences with a 2-year-old playing a game that's designed for 2+. You've got these amazing colourful fruit, these wooden big chunky things that they can hold in their hand and they can use them to do the different colours. There's a dice that they can learn to roll. There's a little birdie meeple thing which my son absolutely loves. We've not necessarily been able to play by the rules yet, but the game does sort of say, look, you can use these components for some sort of fun, and that's what we've been doing. We're slowly getting there. He's rolling the dice, or I'm rolling the dice, and then we're trying to make sure we're taking the right coloured fruit out of the box. And that's pretty much, to be fair, what the game is about. You're supposed to be trying to get all the colourful fruit before the bird moves along a track too far. We've not got quite to that part, but we are rolling the dice and taking the correct coloured fruit, and it's really great for that sort of tactileness of him rolling a dice, sharing the dice with the other person playing with him, and those colours, trying to make sure that he's learning those colours. It's really been enjoyable to see sort of him interacting with it and even asking to play the game, even if it is just rolling the dice and picking up coloured fruit. We'll definitely get there, and I can really recommend this one, and I'm going to be looking into some other Harbour games as well. So that is Harbour First Orchard. What's more to like than enjoyable board games, whoever they are aimed at. Anyway, until next time, enjoy the rest of your breakfast.
Hello, this is Oliver, and recently I got to play a game that you can't even buy in the US, and it is a Korean version of Splendor that is Pokemon themed. And you might be like, well, Oliver, they just took that IP and made it the same game. Incorrect. it's different and it's great. And here's what I like about it. So what I like about this game is the evolutions, is which they added to make it different, and I really like it. And in Pokemon, evolutions, you are evolving your Pokemon to become a better and stronger fighter. But in this game, you are evolving your level 1 card to a level 2 card to a level 3 card. And when you evolve, it makes it easier to get higher level cards without paying the full price for it. And I just really like that because it adds something else to the game. It makes it a little bit more interesting. And it gives me this sense of accomplishment where I'm like, I'm the best Pokemon trainer you will ever see. And also, it fits with the theme very well because some games like, you know, all those random Monopoly, like Marvel Monopoly or Minecraft Monopoly or whatever, like, don't take out the full theme. Like, this game just went all out and with the evolutions and all the art and stuff like that. So it fits really well. And you guys might be thinking, well, Oliver must love Pokemon. I actually don't love Pokemon that much. Like, I've never really liked it that much. And I know I have talked about Splendor in the past, but to be honest, I really like this version of the game, and I like it better than the original Splendor. I know, let that sink in for just a minute. And alright, while you're letting that sink in, have a great breakfast. Bye.
What we do here is go back.
All right, old school game time. This is where we take a look back at a game that is decently old. And we thought, hey, why not talk about a game that was inducted into the Hall of Fame? We want a chance to talk about this game.
That's right.
And this is Lords of Waterdeep.
Oops.
And we still got Mike Heller up there. Get out of here, Mike Heller.
How dare you, Mike?
But yeah, Lords of Waterdeep, I remember the first time I played this game, like back in the day. I used to go to a meetup group. I was like freshly new to the meetup group. There was just one online, like Camel City Gamers in Winston-Salem. And I showed up and someone's like, hey, want to play this Lords of Waterdeep game? And I was a fan of D&D. I'd played tons of D&D. So I was like, oh, cool, it's a D&D theme thing. This might have been the first worker placement game I played.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just really enjoyed kind of the way it all came together.
We're like Euro games.
It was just so interesting. Like the main thing I love about this is the whole fact of like the buildings, you know, when you can build a building out and then when other people go there, you get a benefit, you know. So it's just so
there's
cool.
an interesting interaction with that. It's fascinating because I came at this game not knowing much at all about D&D, and so to me this game was just worker placement spots and cubes. But for you, did you feel like this was like highly thematic?
I did think it was fun, like collecting, like you say cubes, but then I got a copy of this game, and very shortly they came out with these the D&D-ples or whatever.
D&D-ples.
Like
Oh,
everybody played with the D&D-ples or whatever. That's one of the few things that I just immediately got on Etsy because I'm like, cubes? Why are you sending cubes? That makes no sense. And just the cubes being shaped like little
they're little
clerics
warriors
or little warriors or
Yeah.
little thieves. It was just great and like added so much more to it. It's like, okay, I'm collecting these guys out and sending them on their quests. So majority of the time I played this game, I never played with cubes, you know, just because even back then I was such a big proponent of like, I need my game to like look like I'm doing the thing that I am doing in the game, you know. But yeah, we played so many games of Lords of Waterdeep.
This is the game that taught me about owlbears. I didn't know they existed until this moment.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we knew nothing.
We knew nothing about
D&D.
D&D. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It took me at one point to read one of the quest cards and be like, oh, I'm sending adventurers to repel the sea wraiths. Like I'm sending fighters and a wizard to like fix this problem affecting the city.
I was like, I need purple contracts, and it requires purple cubes.
I came to this in the very opposite direction. I had been teaching D&D 4th edition, because this came out while 4th edition was still going on. I was teaching D&D 4th edition for like 2 years at like a game store, and I had kind of like, it's hard. I had moved to like a different city, like not that far, like 30 minutes away. So I couldn't really run the D&D games the way I used to. I was no longer playing Magic in like my Magic groups and things like that. So I had switched over completely to board games at this point. And so I was like looking for people to play board games with. And I ran into this at a meetup group, and yeah, I definitely had a ton of fun with. I bought it. I'm sad I no longer have a copy of it because I would actually go back and play this now, you know. But,
Have you played the expansion?
I have played the expansion at least once, but yeah, not a ton. I never owned the expansion. I played somebody else's copy with the expansion.
Yeah, we never owned it either. And I can see why people say that this is one of their favorite expansions because I think Lords of Waterdeep as a base game was this like perfect, welcoming gateway kind of a game.
Yeah.
Right? For people that don't want too much overhead in their rules and too much going on, it's phenomenal at what it does. And then the expansion is just like that little bit of extra, just a little bit of extra juice, a little bit of extra meat on it that I really liked. Balancing the corruption versus not getting it and everything.
Right, yeah.
You didn't love it.
I didn't love it, but also the one time that I played, Chris got all the cards that got to remove corruption and give it to other people, and
got corrupted.
Nobody else got those. No, what I like about the base game though, is just
custom crafts.
That's cool.
What I like is the positive interaction. Like when you own those buildings, you get benefits when other people go there. And so you're very much like, please go to my buildings. Please use these things. I'm putting out stuff
It has some
that
good
are
interaction,
better
right?
spaces. Yeah. Like they're genuinely better spaces. People want to go there if possible.
Oh, man,
But they
now I
also
want
don't want to
that.
give you all the extra stuff.
I want to play the
Wow.
game like that.
That's cool.
That's not fair.
That would be pretty awesome. Just replace all your agents with minis. And this is coming from me saying
I
that.
could probably very
Do they
easily
fit
do
on the
that.
spaces,
So that dude with the bow, I definitely have that miniature. This is like early 2000s miniatures
Are these
from the
mini
D&D line.
miniatures or are these like standard size, like 1 inch miniatures?
No, these are the same size for D&D stuff. Like
Okay.
if you used Wizards of the Coast used to sell like booster packs that had like randomized miniatures in them, and I used to go to Borders all the time with my 50% off coupon and be like, "I'll take that," and they're like, "We just made no profit on that." And I'm like, "I will do this every week," and that's kind of what I did. I had tons of those D&D miniatures before WizKids started taking over doing them, but yeah,
great.
that's cool.
This was also for me one of the first games that we played that had idea of like secret objectives / characters. They weren't even character ongoing powers, but they were, hey, you want to you want to collect these types of quests or
Skullduggery.
yeah, or Roy's the builder. Oh, we got to stop Roy from being the builder. Then it turned out he
know.
wasn't the builder. He was faking us out.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
building buildings is good anyway, but then being the builder was amazing. I always remember that role was great.
There was like 7 games in a row that I got the same secret objective all the time. It was like the guy that looks like he's got like half mask on.
I would say it
whatever.
definitely wasn't piety because we know nothing about Wendy is
What?
pious.
Heyo.
That happened. But yeah, I had that guy like 7 games in a row, and I was like, I'm always going for skullduggery. Always.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Skullduggery. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Lots of nostalgia with Lords of Waterdeep.
It's a good game. I'm glad it got
I love that it's
put in the Hall of
inducted-
Fame. Yeah,
Inducted into the Hall of
Inducted.
Fame.
This is cool here.
If you haven't
like this.
watched the Dice Tower Awards video we put up, Rob Davio's talk about Lords of Waterdeep beforehand was just so amazing. So make sure to go and check that out too.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely cool.
So anyway, we had talked about Love Letter before, and as I mentioned, go watch that. Just both the speech about being inducted in, and then Seiji Kanai's response is amazing. And same thing here, Rob Davio's introduction to it, and then seeing Rodney Thompson up there was just a surreal, just cool experience.
Yeah, love it.
There you go.
All right, and that is our old school game. Let's keep moving.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella from Maple University. Today we are going to talk about the game that's been out for a while, Bohnanza.
27 years, in fact.
27, Bohnanza, which I have just played, but you have played many years ago.
I'd played it once. Early on in my hobby gaming journey, I'd played the game. And, a couple of things struck me playing it again. It was of that late 90s era where there were a number of games out there that were very heavy on negotiation, like Chinatown and Catan around that era, lots of negotiation. But the game has this mechanism where you can't change the order of cards in your hand, and you're forced to play cards from your hand every turn, and you get new cards on the back of your hand every turn. And you don't want a lot of those cards. By having to play them, it's going to set you back. And so a big part of what you're negotiating with is getting rid of things you don't want. That's the benefit to you. You can freely try to get someone to take a card off your hand for free because not having that card is a benefit to you.
Yep.
And I don't think I've seen that in any other game.
Yeah,
I think it
gets
stands
unique.
alone.
It's Uwe Rosenberg's one of his first games, probably.
I think
or
it's
early
very.
game.
I think it's very first.
All right, and farming beans. After playing it, I want to eat beans, nachos, burritos, and all the beans food. I quite enjoy this because the negotiation is quite straightforward. It's not like I have to count. Like it's just going to benefit me. I mean, it's a light party game. Scoring is easy. You just get the most coins. And the cards also multi-use, so the coins, basically the beans, like beans being flipped and coins, play 3 rounds. And yeah, really enjoy that game. That's Bohnanza. And thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.
Hi, and welcome to Co-op Gestalt, a place to talk about cooperative games, cooperative game mechanisms, and sometimes solo games. This week we're going to talk to you about a game, a superhero deck building game. Do you mean Legendary Rich? No, I mean Union City Alliance, Heroes Unite. This is a cooperative superhero deck building game. And you might say, well, if I've already got Marvel Legendary, why do I need this? Well, I like Marvel Legendary. It's one of my top 10 cooperative deck building games. But the problem is it doesn't feel particularly thematic. You're buying superheroes in the game. So what I like about this game is you are actually playing a superhero where you have your own deck with your own starting powers, and you have your own power deck which you aspire to as you slowly unveil it in the game. And the game also unfolds over an entire grid as you explore the city and you fight villains. And the villain itself has this 4-issue deck where you reveal it as the game goes on. It's very, very thematic. Now, the only problem with this game, I love it, is that it's a little more complicated. This art you look at and say, oh, that looks like kind of perhaps be something more for younger kids. No. This is a very deep, complicated game with fantastic art. I think this guy knocked it out of the park. But that's the only thing I'd be aware of. I really like this game. It's more complex than Marvel Legendary, but it's a really fun superhero cooperative deck building game. Thanks anyway. Anyway, find me on the web at coopgestalt.com, a place to talk about cooperative games. Bye, everybody.
All right, this time around we don't have an official mailbag video, so well, I'm going to blame
What are we
this
gonna
on.
do?
I'm going to blame this on Gencon. So
We can literally talk about nothing now because we don't have a mailbag video.
Or we could talk about Gencon.
that's why I pay you the big bucks. No, I don't know. I just thinking about the whole thing here. This whole last week, several parts of it were kind of like a blur, namely the racing against the hurricane. And then be like, oh, I guess I'm going to get home several days before Wendy and the rest of the crew and everything. It was such a weird ending to the con, but it's funny because the whole length of the con I thought was phenomenal. This might have been my favorite Gen Con that I've been to because I think this is my fourth.
Oh, wow.
Fourth one I've ever been to as part of the Dice Tower. And I've only been to it as part of the Dice Tower. Wendy, I know you've been to the last 3, I think?
Gen Cons? Yes.
Yeah. And then Roy, you've gone
I've been
even
to a bunch.
before.
It's interesting too because Gen Con is so different for so many different people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I went to Gen Con before being a part of the Dice Tower and like getting to experience like the crowds and standing in line. I remember pushing my way to the front of a door, being like, "All right, we're gonna get code names," you know, that sort of thing. It's just so crazy. Or just being like there with friends and stuff like that, like waiting in line for all of the stuff and being in the crowds. But like being an exhibitor at the Dice Tower is a completely different thing, you know. And then besides that, being there as like someone who's designed a game is a completely different thing, you know. It's all so different and so different to so many different people. I'm sure role players have a different experience, and people who are trying to cosplay have a different experience, and people that are there just to get swag for games is a different experience, you know. It's just cool that Gen Con can be so different for so many different people, you know. And it's just really fun.
It's fascinating because if I was going just for myself, I think I would spend a lot of time in that BGG hotness room.
Ooh, yeah.
Or just playtesting a lot of games. Not playtesting, but like demoing a lot of games. Yeah, it's very different coming in as like, I spent most of my time hanging out at the booth.
I remember going as a podcaster and just being like, okay, I need to go in and try to demo as many games as I can so I can talk about them on our show and be like, okay, I've played this, I've tried this, I've done this, you know, and now like all of those games come into the studio, so it's like not really the same thing. But yeah, and then just being like, okay, I'm going to try to meet these other board game media content creators and like talk to all these people, you know, and now it's very much like, okay, I'm going to talk to this publisher and like hit up this designer, you know, and like just networking in general at Gen Con is just such a huge thing because like everybody in the industry is there.
Right, and there's just so many people to talk with. And my, I'll speak for myself. One of my favorite things is when someone comes up and says, you know, kind of nervous, like, hi. I'm like, yes, thank you for coming up and saying hello to us. Like you said earlier, every one of us is just so excited to meet people who like the Dice Tower. It feels so exciting and energizing. You know, we come back from a convention like this exhausted, so dead tired, but also like just kind of reinvigorated because so many people were nice to us and so many people let us know like, hey, the work you guys do like is meaningful. A lot of people have come up and said like it's got, you know, the Dice Tower in general. Yeah, they're game reviews and stuff, but it gets me through the hard times. And that's like,
or it's our family entertainment, or it's there's just different things.
It's become our little tradition and everything. Yeah.
It just makes you all real. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
I remember
Genway says, sorry, super chat here. Getting autographed by Joey is the coolest. Now, did Joey just sign you?
Yeah.
Just like,
That's what I'm curious.
like a rock star?
whatever, he was going around getting Joey to say that he's me all the time. So
Identity theft is not a joke.
Identity theft is not a joke. But yeah, I remember just being a fan going to the con and like going to Dice Tower live show. They did like a show where it was very much just like an episode of the podcast, but it was a musical one where everybody was getting up singing and Jeff Finkelstein coming up there singing and Sam and Z and everybody, and then taking me and my podcast co-host like taking pictures with Tom and Sam afterwards like meant so much. That was the first time I ever like actually met them. I'm sure they have zero recollection of that, you know, because it's like a million people. But like I have that picture. It's like that's the first time I actually met Tom Vassell, you know. It's just kind of funny. But then like going and meeting like the Secret Cabal and hanging out with Tony and Marty and like all these other like board game media people, even if they're like veterans in that field or whatever, it's really cool to like have made those connections like way back in the day.
The point about so many people can experience Gen Con in so many different ways. Like it's funny because, you know, after my first year or two of Gen Con, I was like, yeah, it's just not a playing convention. Right. And then people are like, all I've done at Gen Con is play games.
Right.
Because they go to the other halls.
Yeah.
And they go into those rooms, you know, go into the all-play room, the CGE room, the Renegade room, and they just demo games. Like
every
wild.
lobby of every hotel is full of people playing games.
Yes.
Every little event, like every little room is full of like publishers will rent out rooms and have like secret playtest meetings and things like that in all of those rooms. Like I've been able to go and be like, oh, cool, we're going to go here and we're going to playtest this game. And you go there and like there's like trying out, like it's the only time that they're able to get the entire team together is at this Gen Con event. So they're going to be like, okay, let's go over what the new things are going to be for this year and stuff like that. It's just so cool. So many, I mean, there's a lot of things that people don't even know. Like there's publishers just constantly taking pitches the whole time and like talking and like networking with all of their designers. This is like one of the biggest times where like the entire industry is there together, you know?
You know what? I actually met a guy that works for a university who's doing a study on legacy games. Like the university is doing that. They have, it's one professor that does game design and one professor that does psychology or something like that.
Interesting.
But yeah, he was like, can you fill out this survey for me? Because I guess Gen Con's the best place to do that, right? Yeah. If you want people to fill out your like your study survey
about legacy games.
Yeah, so that you can get published in a journal. Like that's cool. Yeah. Board games are making it, man. Science.
The epitome of Gen Con is different for different people. For me, is when I was speed walking back through the halls at one point to get to the booth to get ready for the Dice Tower Awards show that first day. And I was like, okay, I'm focused. I got a mission. I got something I need to accomplish. And there's a guy in one of the smaller, like one of the side event rooms. By smaller, I mean still like 200-300 seats. And he's just taking tickets. He goes, Scooby-Doo show? Scooby-Doo show. And it stopped me dead in my tracks. I turned around, peeked inside, and there's like a D&D live play session going on. And the entire cast at the front of the room is dressed up as the Scooby-Doo characters.
That's awesome.
I was like, I would go to this in a heartbeat.
I have friends that go there, like friends from my old game group that actually one of the guys that I played Lords of Waterdeep with back in the day, he was at Gencon and all he was doing was just playing like Lorcana tournaments and like Star Wars Unlimited tournaments, just all these different tournaments for games. You know, you can go there and just play competitive gaming as well. So it's kind of crazy.
See, I would love to go for the painting classes.
Yeah,
I
there's a lot of that
think
too.
I think Joey's Alex got to do a class on eyes, like how to paint eyes better. And I was like, that's cool.
I would paint, canvas instead of my eyes.
Yeah, painting your eyes, most of those things are toxic. I wouldn't do that.
Stop
He's
one
like,
dead in the
"Guys,
tracks."
shut up. That's why you wear those protective things, right? When you're painting?
Contacts?
No, the sleep mask when you paint.
Oh,
to
that's right.
protect
That's
your
right.
eyes.
Yes. That's what it is.
One of the biggest things, though, I want to make sure that we hit before we end today's episode is that we had a bunch of great people who worked the booth with us.
Oh, for sure.
And so we talked about Bruce earlier. He picked up some extra shifts. He was there all the time, super helpful. But we have a couple of people who are there like every year. Mike Austin's
awesome.
is someone who comes and he busts his butt, man. And I almost feel guilty where I'm like, thanks for coming and working so I can do the other stuff too.
Ryan and Bethany helped out for a little bit. Ryan was there.
Yeah, so you're regular Ryan and
did-
Bethany contributors here on Breakfast.
We had a bunch of people come and help clean up too. Like the booth got put away. Like I said, the van people had to leave. And so we were shorter staffed than expected, but the booth got done relatively quickly because we had a lot of help.
Yeah, it felt so weird to have to jet out of Gen Con early.
Yeah.
Like I mean, seriously, if you look at the radar of that Hurricane Debbie, like we scooched past it before it hit like the Florida-Georgia line by maybe an hour.
We had to like go like a weird way too. We went all through West Virginia and like through North Carolina, which normally if we were coming straight down, if we would have come straight down, we would have went straight through all of it. So we had to like drive to dodge a hurricane.
Yeah, you went
quite
like
literally,
super east.
and then we only made it by like an hour, which is crazy.
Yeah, so if we had left any later, we would have been driving through the worst bands of it. And we probably would have had to stop. Like, there's just no way, right? And then with the flight cancellations, everything, it was... That last day was chaos. Everything got thrown around. And then I don't remember who all showed up and helped, but I know Carrie and Derek Buzan and a couple of the other people.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I wish I could remember everyone's names. They came and they stayed after Gen Con to tear down the booth. And the fact that they were able to do that meant that we were able to leave safely.
One lady I nicknamed Not Debbie.
Not
Debbie?
Thanks,
her
Not
name was
Debbie.
like Stephanie or something. I don't remember her actual name, but yeah, she was Not Debbie.
We just have amazing people
We
that,
really do.
that want to help and everything. So thank you so much for that. It let us all get home
It
safely.
makes
and everything.
such a difference. Yes.
Thank you everyone for making our Gen Con great.
It really is true. Part of what makes Gen Con so great is
Is
everyone watching.
you.
Is you guys. It sounds corny, but
It's
it's true.
All right.
On that note, let's go ahead and we don't have any more contributors, right? We're ready for the rest of the day.
Yeah, this is it. We're going to kick off the rest of the day. A few announcements of what's going to be coming out this week is we are going to be taking some of those little segments from across the award show. Eric's musical number. We've gotten like 20, 30 requests. Like, can you separate Eric's song from the intro so I can send it to people?
Yes.
We're going to be. Yeah, some of those things. We're going to be playing a few more games that we got from Gen Con, but not too much. But we've got crowd surfing this afternoon. We've got some of our normal shows. We'll be covering the news tomorrow and everything. But yeah, we've got some cool stuff coming still this week.
Yep. Well, thanks for joining us today. I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Roy Kennedy.
Have fun playing games.
Hey folks, thanks for watching another one of our videos. If you like our videos, if you like our channel, you would love to game with us at one of our conventions. Check out Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower East, and Dice Tower West. Fantastic conventions where we play games with wonderful people, a humongous library, and lots of other events and stuff. Also, don't forget to check out our channel, like and subscribe. I'm Tom Bassel.